The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.
In the aftermath to the Boston Marathon bombing, we're now starting to get a number of different stories that will be followed over some period of time. The trial of Zahar Tsarnaev will be one of those stories. And another story that's emerged over the last couple of days is that of where will the remains of Tamerlan Tsarnaev be buried? Now, the funeral director in charge of Tamerlan Tsarnaev, Peter Steffen, said he hasn't been able to find a cemetery in Massachusetts who's even willing to take the body, right? He says he could ask the city of Cambridge, where Tsarnaev lived, to provide a burial plot. And then if Cambridge turns him down, he'll talk to state officials. And his uncle, the uncle Ruslan Tsarnaev, said, I'm dealing with the logistics. A dead person must be buried. This is, of course, the uncle who came up from Maryland. We saw an interview with that uncle during the entire interim period between the bombing and when they were eventually killed and caught, respectively. And one of the latest pieces of this story, which I think it gives us a lot of questions that we could kind of discuss amongst ourselves, is that a Yale Divinity School graduate actually said, hey, I'd be willing to donate one of my burial plots at a Mount Carmel cemetery to the family of Tamerlan Tsarnaev. And he said, I have these 4 plots. My parents are buried in 2. I already have a plot for myself, and I would be willing to do it. Now, here's the thing. He says, the only condition is that I do it in memory of my mother, who taught Sunday school at the Mount Carmel Congregational Church for 40 years and taught me to love thine enemy. This is Paul Douglas Keene, who has a blog called The Anti-Yale. He says, I own the plot. No one can refuse me access. He's 68 years old. He's a retired public school teacher who lives in Vermont. And the cemetery in question is Central Burying Grounds on Whitney Avenue in Mount Carmel. What do you think about this, Lewis, right? I mean, he says, this is a person. I don't care that he's a pariah. Everybody deserves a burial, so I'm willing to make the offer. I also think it would be a nice thing to do in memory of my mother, who did teach me, love thine enemy. I don't care how despicable and hateful his behavior was in his lifetime. He's dead, and his body deserves a resting place. And he says, this is the Christian thing to do. The real Christian thing to do here is provide a burial plot.
I'd say this is probably the only real Christian we've talked about in a long time.
So you agree with this? You don't think that because of the counter argument would be, listen,
no, I
this
mean,
is a guy who
I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm completely neutral on this. I don't think burying the body or not burying the body would matter. I understand why people would not want the body
near
in certain places near them.
Exactly.
But I mean, to me, it's just decaying matter at this point.
Natan, do you think this is more about the details, the minutia of what Tamerlan Tsarnaev did while he was alive, or more about what it says about those who still are alive in terms of how this is handled?
Well, it's all a symbolic thing. I mean, this guy is getting criticized because he's making a symbolic move. It's like Lewis is saying, there's a practical issue here at stake, but the guy isn't really proposing a practical solution. It's a symbolic one. It's to say that no matter who this guy is, he deserves a normal burial, and no one's willing to, go and actually volunteer for it. On the other hand, this guy wasn't an American citizen, I believe, so I don't know if it's possible to send his body back to Russia, or whether they would even accept him. Maybe
I
they
actually
wouldn't
don't
accept
remember.
him.
I don't remember whether Tamerlan was a citizen and Zahar was close to being, or vice versa.
No. Zahar is clearly the citizen.
Right. Yeah. If he wasn't a citizen, why would he be? Yeah. Okay. So fair enough. Yeah.
So that's it.
I don't really care if he gets buried in a Christian cemetery or if they throw him to the vultures. I really don't care either way.
But you wouldn't be angry for the guy for offering with this guy for
Am I
offering
mad
the
at this
plot?
guy? No, I don't. Not at all.